Jimmy Dore and his buddy, still COVID distancing, which I think is weird. I would think they would share a love seat at this point. I almost feel like I should have. This segment is dedicated to Carlos Alazraqui, who does not give either one of these assholes an inch, which I think is what they have between them. So let's see what this conversation tells us about identity politics. I'm sure we'll learn something, and I'm sure Jimmy will defend the BLM movement ferociously.
Left revolves almost exclusively around identity, which is, in other words, me. Narcissism is about me. Yeah, but you...
Well, no. Narcissism would be about you individually. Identity politics would arguably, and it's not something I necessarily support, but the idea is that it's not about me, it's about we. It's about a group that you belong to, that you recognize that as an Asian person or a white person or a black person or a Christian or some group that you have aligned yourself with or that you are biologically aligned to, that you find a commonality in the political needs of that group, and it directly reflects a political need that you yourself have, and therefore that alignment drives most of how you vote. That would be the upside of identity politics. It would not be this narcissistic, unless Tucker Carlson is now a race, which is entirely possible.
You kept talking about economics. That used to be...
Well, it's because he's a classist. Yeah.
The central conversation on the left, or in America, actually. Yeah. Why no more?
Yeah, we got all caught up in that whole civil rights era thing. Yeah, kind of.
Because the establishment has learned how to co-opt identity politics to put the brakes on economic progress and justice. So
that's why. So Democrats pretend to care about, like, they pass Asian hate crime bills and they support, movements for racial justice and that kind of stuff. But they only do that so that they can stop the $15 minimum wage from passing. That's why. That's the reasoning.
So the joke I do.
Oh, it's the joke I do. They made you clear jokes. You couldn't just come on and rant. This is what happens when you have to pre-clear what you're going to say with the producer.
So if you want to help, I would say if you want to help black people, nothing would help them more than free college, student loan relief, and Medicare for all, and a living wage. You want to help them? That would be the way to help them.
But why is that a joke?
Biden comes in, does none of those things, but he makes Juneteenth a holiday.
Biden just forgave $57 million in student loan debt in the federal system because he can. He doesn't have the ability by himself to do that. He ran on it. They're pushing for it. They've got a bill coming up to do it. But this is, by the way, think about what it takes to, and by the way, living wage, they've been pushing for $15 minimum wage. It's spreading across the country anyways. Most of the states have it. That's how it's going to work out. Most states are going to get $15 minimum wage based on that idea. But the idea that somehow that Biden only made Juneteenth a holiday was to cover so he wouldn't have to do any of the other things, because that's really what the Biden administration is about. It's this they use the illusion of caring about other races simply to avoid having to pass, especially in the case of Medicare for all, something he didn't actually run on.
So do you understand?
Biden cannot forgive student loan debt tomorrow, Tony Clifton. He cannot. You cannot do that by an executive order. That's lunacy. And by the way, you don't explain a joke. I don't know that it was a joke. That's the thing. If that's a joke,
Understand what I'm talking about?
Oh, I do understand.
So that
yeah, of all people. I mean, yes, Tucker Carlson understands. The guy who his head writer was a white supremacist incel who was writing on like Reddit boards, anti-Semitic stuff, anti-women stuff, anti-black stuff, got caught doing it. Tucker never knew the guy. How could he know that his head writer hung out on those things and wrote under that? I mean, why would you know? It's not the guy you hang out with the most on your show. Of course Tucker Carlson understands that Juneteenth is just a way to keep Tucker Carlson from wanting Medicare for all.
It's all signals, but there's no substance. We're signaling that we want to help the minority community, but we're not actually helping them. So that's what.
Who's we? And because that's right, because Jimmy's a Republican.
Identity politics is. It's a big diversion. And the joke I say, you know, if it was 1860, the Democrats would be bragging about their first transgendered slave owner. And so what I'm trying to tell.
First transgendered slave owner. Yikes. Does that work? I'm going to guess you get a lot of clapter at your shows, Jimmy. You know what I mean? Not real laughs, but people like, fucking A. Can you wrap this show up? Tucker's on in like half an hour. And I want to get home and watch it. I guess I can watch it on my phone.
What I tell people is that when you vote for them, when you vote for somebody inside the Democratic Party, no matter what they say, no matter what they believe, they're going to go along with Nancy Pelosi. And Nancy Pelosi goes along with Goldman Sachs and Raytheon. So when you're
yeah, that's who Nancy Pelosi's a big. If it wasn't for her, Raytheon wouldn't exist. Raytheon. Okay, I would have thought just fall back, just say big tech. Tucker's not gonna get a Raytheon reference. Jesus Christ. I don't watch a lot of Jimmy shit, so this is very weird.
When you're voting for someone inside the Democratic Party, you're voting for Goldman Sachs and Raytheon because they are not standing up to those people. So the idea that we
is you got to vote. What you have to do is attack Democrats nonstop, no matter what they do that you're for, by pretending they never do the stuff that you say you're for, so that the stuff that you say you're for never gets done. And then you make a living shitting on those people.
That we have progressives inside the Democratic Party, it's actually more deleterious to the progressive movement to have them there. Why is that, Jimmy? Because it gives people a false impression that there's somebody in government fighting for you, that there's one of the parties that are kind of on your side, and they aren't. And the quick...
Yeah, they are. There's a very big distinction between the parties. Are there people like the mansions of the world where you wish they were a little further this way? Absolutely. But this idea that somehow, like, no, the real Kremlin is the Democratic Party.
The quicker people realize that both parties are not on their side, they only serve the oligarchy. We are, in fact, in an oligarchy. Your democracy was stolen way before Trump. Until that happens, we won't ever have real change.
But what about Ocasio-Cortez? She's on Instagram.
Ocasio-Cortez campaigned on a floor vote on Medicare for all. And she campaigned on creating what she called a ruckus, meaning you have to stop being polite. This is a quote. You have to stop being polite. We tried being polite, and it got us nowhere.
Well, actually, no, it got us the ACA, which saved like 24 million people's lives and continues to this day to provide health care for millions of Americans who didn't have it before. And if they'd have just fought for all or nothing, none of those people would be alive. But fuck them, right? I mean, if we're going for the Maoist revolution, we gotta dust off like 40 million people in the process. Or do you even really Mao, bro?
It wasn't until we started acting out and speaking impolitely that we even created the circumstances for change. That's what she tweeted. So I'm just doing what she said. So I started to put heat on people like AOC. And
by the way, putting heat on AOC means calling her a fucking moron and a coward, and calling Bernie a coward, and saying that they're worse than the establishment, and they're even worse because this whole illusion of someone, what he just said about the Democratic establishment gives you this idea that there's people that you can actually root for and that are actually doing what you want them to do, and that illusion, is worse than not having them there. He believes that in spades about the Squad and Bernie Sanders. I mean, the videos of him turning on Bernie Sanders is fucking, it's amazing.
And Rashid Tlaib,
considering how, he spent spent 2 whole presidential campaigns giving the dude a rusty trombone, and now he's like, I don't even know this song.
And Ro Khanna and all the Justice Democrats and the Squad to force the vote, and they said I was committing violence against them with my words. That's how scared they got.
Were you?
That's how scared. You really telling them to do what they ran on?
And like nobody thinks Jimmy Dore is funnier than Tucker Carlson. That should tell you something. I'm surprised, Tucker, that you didn't give him a bigger laugh on the transgender slave owner gag.
That's violence. That's how afraid they were. And all the things. So they
Yeah, they are. They are for women, and you're inciting violence against because you raise it to the level of people are going to get killed. And by the way, they have reason to be afraid because Jimmy Dore has previously driven his a couple of his viewers to actually murder people. So it's not like they just grabbed that out of the air.
So they had people write hit pieces on me in the New York Magazine, Newsweek, BuzzFeed. They tried to shut me down and squelch.
Yeah, AOC was trying to shut Jimmy Dore down.
Me. They made me trend on Twitter negatively.
Oh my God, they made you trend on Twitter negatively? No. How dare they? How dare you? Someone made you trend negatively on Jimmy. Someone made you trend negatively on Twitter?
Negatively, but they couldn't shut me up. And
well, maybe they weren't trying, and you were exaggerating their desires to make it look like you were a target and playing the victim card. You know who's an expert on that? The dude you're actually talking to right now. You guys should hang.
And they couldn't stop me. And they don't know what to do with me. Because, again, all the usual... They have Wikipedia putting smears on me that I can't get rid of.
Oh, my God. Wait a minute. People are putting things on your Wikipedia that make you look bad temporarily? Oh, my God. How do you withstand these attacks? I'd sue, Jimmy.
CNN's calling me now. It's...
Oh, my God. If CNN is calling you, you're fucked.
Unbelievable what's going on.
It is unbelievable that CNN is actually calling him. I mean, they're not calling him to be on. They're getting quotes from him for a story on their online page.
A comedian, a pothead comedian in his garage, what you can do when you want to tell the truth inside journalism and politics, and you can create a ruckus. And I did.
Something's weird here. I just noticed this. You'll have to excuse me 1 second. Let's see. I'll go here. I need to find because this just happened. This is a brand new clip. Give me 1 second. Jimmy Dore. And I'll have to find something recent. I see. There you go. It's Jimmy Dore. So I can pause that. I'll just grab. What's the newest one? Here's one. Let's see. Grab a new one real quick. Hold on. Let me mute this. Okay, this one happened after that video. So, all right, let me see something real quick. Let's go back. Let's see. Gonna do it here. Give me 1 second. Okay, this is. That's him on June 27th. And that's him today. And that's him on June 27th. And that's him on Tucker. And that's him on June 27th. And that's... I have to give Jimmy credit. He gave himself a little Just for Men right before going on Tucker. This was a serious date. Because you only Just for Men for a keeper. Yeah, that's sweet. There you go. You know what? If I was Tucker Carlson and I was a grown man and I had any morals and a functioning penis, I'd be flattered. But he's. I'm sorry. We interrupted you, Jimmy. Where were you? You're being trended negatively on Twitter. People were writing things on your Wikipedia page that you didn't like, and what else? CNN was calling. That's what it was.
And so now everybody sees that those people are fakers. And they're.
By the way, he's talking about the squad. He's not talking about Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi. He's not talking about Joe Manchin or Kristen Sinema. He's not bitching about Eric Swalwell or Chris Murphy. He is on Tucker Carlson specifically for the purpose of attacking the squad and AOC.
And they're corrupt. And the reason.
And they're corrupt. By the way, the squad is corrupt, just so you know. The squad and Bernie Sanders are corrupt. Just to clarify. Yeah.
Why I say they're corrupt is not because they take corporate money and do the bidding of corporations, but.
No, Tucker Carlson's going to cut to a commercial in a moment for somebody that you supposedly think you're against.
They're doing the bidding of their own career, right? Their own self-dealing.
Yeah.
So if I.
Well, they represent the people, and therefore, if they represent the actual people that got them elected, not just some sort of rando asshole in California, pothead comedian in his garage, former TYT host in his garage, smoking pot, I guess is the idea. Rather than trying to make him happy, they're actually trying to represent their actual constituents, and their actual constituents aren't hardline lunatics who turn on anybody who's not 100% on board, and would be, if there was some sort of revolutionary movement, revolution moment, he'd be the ones directing who gets bayoneted.
If I go along with the establishment, I'm
Yes, Jimmy Carter is absolutely corrupt. Are you kidding?
going to get a book deal. I'm going to get speaking fees, and I'm going to be in Congress for at least 5 years, and then I get a pension for the rest of my life. That is.
Or they could just be representing the actual constituencies they're in, because a lot of them were in blue districts. They just made bluer technically by running, but they still have to get reelected in those districts that had, say, long-running, what you would view as centrist or corporate Dems, which are just, tags you're throwing on them because they don't do what you tell them to do while you're screaming in your garage, apparently. That those folks, they want to actually represent the people in their district instead of you for some reason. And Tucker, because basically Jimmy Dore is just a delivery system for what Tucker Carlson wants the left to say.
Corrupt, and that's why they're not pushing back. Because Nancy Pelosi could come in and crush you. Hey, we'll fund somebody in a primary to your left, just like she did to Joe Crowley, AOC, right? So that's what they're all afraid of. They're afraid of the power of the establishment taking away what little power and that they have in Congress.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey.
That's it. This was, I would like to say for the record, the name of this clip is Comedian Tells Tucker Carlson His Take on Identity Politics. That was the name of this clip. Now, that's not Jimmy Dore's responsibility. That's somebody at Fox News or Tucker Carlson's, Tucker Carlson Today is part of the Tucker Carlson Originals on Fox News Channel, Tucker Carlson's non-offshoot Fox Nation Wood show that he's on. That's not their responsibility. But ultimately, look what this conversation about identity politics dovetailed into. This segment is 4 minutes and 10 seconds long. And the conversation about identity politics, what do you think of identity politics? Like, it's narcissism. That was the start of, let's see, where's the, he jumps right, here we go. This is, let's remember the premise of Tucker Carlson's question here.
Which is, in other words, me.
Okay, hold on. Back.
The conversation on the left revolves almost exclusively around identity, which is, in other words, me. Narcissism is about me.
Yeah.
But you kept talking.
And by the way, Jimmy says that the left's entire conversation, the left, he didn't say Democrats, I don't think. Did he? I'm sorry.
The conversation on the left revolves almost.
The conversation on the left, not the conversation in Democratic circles, not Nancy Pelosi every time she hits a microphone. No, the conversation around the left, which Jimmy Dore is a self-appointed, self-righteous, arbiter of. Like he picks who's left. Okay, let's understand what Jimmy actually thinks his job is. You are not a verified lefty unless Jimmy Dore gives you the stamp. And by the way, never turns on you, because obviously the squad and Bernie Sanders that we learned during this segment, they're not left. They're not. I mean, they're worse than corporate. They're worth than the executives at Raytheon, right? And Goldman Sachs. But yeah, so that was the question. The left.
Almost
and what did Jimmy say? Yeah. The left's just all about identity politics. He agrees right out of the gate. And then takes the conversation from, Black Lives Matter or Stop Asian Hate, crime bills and those kind of things where, we're centering around making sure that there's sort of any kind of conversation about that where it's clearly that's what, or LGBT issues, which is clearly what Tucker is talking about as well. Or, it's Tucker, so he could mean Jews, but that would be enough. But the idea is that's what identity politics is centered on in the conversations you'll hear most of the place. So most of the time when you hear a big identity politics thing, it's about either LGBT issues, especially trans rights issues right now, black conversations about violence against black men, against police, the riots and the protests from last year from George Floyd. Like that's the conversation that's been happening all around. In the Democratic Party, by the way, laws are being passed or literally running mates are being chosen specifically to answer those very things, allowing people to, who have been disenfranchised in the past to actually have a shot at the levers of power. That's actually going on. But to Jimmy, the left is, all they're talking about is it's all skin color, and he agrees with Tucker Carlson 100%. Then he turns the whole conversation about identity politics into AOC and the squad and Bernie Sanders are frauds, and that they are attacking Jimmy Dore. And that's especially amazing considering how Tucker Carlson phrased the question at the beginning.
The conversation on the left revolves almost exclusively around identity, which is, in other words, me. Narcissism is about me.
Yeah.
What the fuck does Jimmy Dore do? He makes the whole conversation about him.
And Rashid Tlaib and Ro Khanna and all the Justice Democrats and the squad to force the vote. And they said I was committing violence against them with my words. That's how scared they got.
Were you?
That's how scared. You really telling them to do what they ran on? That's violence? That's how afraid they were. And all the things. So they had people write hit pieces on me in the New York Magazine, News.
Identity politics is the theme of this segment.
Week, BuzzFeed. They tried to shut me down and squelch me. They made me trend.
They made me trend on Twitter. That's how you squelch someone.
On Twitter negatively. But they couldn't shut me up, and they couldn't stop me, and they don't know what to do with me because.
They feel the same way about the Daily Stormer and anti-vaxxers. Jimmy, you're in good company. What the fuck is this? Holy shit! And by the way, Jimmy, let me see if I'll find it. Hold on 1 second. Jimmy Dore believes. Let me go over here. I need my little mouse over here. Jimmy Dore is a lefty, right? And that anybody who's in bed with corporatists or it's all about money. It's just money. Got to get money out of politics. Money is the problem. Let's see. Dore buys house. Oh, there's the guy. Let's see. So this isn't years ago. This is December 13th, 2020. This is in Variety. He didn't mention that he's been tortured by Variety, right? That Mo Khanna and the squad and Bernie Sanders, they're fucking with his Wikipedia page and they're attacking him by making him trend negatively on Twitter. One of the things that made Jimmy quote unquote trend negatively on Twitter is his dyed-in-the-wool Marxist view of the world, where he supposedly is, that how dare there be billionaires in the world, how dare anyone spend any of their excess money on themselves, that millionaires themselves are suspect evil beings. And here's a little article. This is Variety. He got into Variety with this one, whatever. Political commentator. I thought, why didn't they say pothead in his garage, Jimmy Dore? I don't know. comedian pothead in his garage, Jimmy Dore. That's his preferred. That's his pronouns. Buys rambling LA compound. Location Studio City. Price $1.9 million, 2,815 square feet, 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. In his garage. Pothead in his garage, guys. He's just like you. All he does is do his show in front of a, he's got a green screen like I do. You know what I mean? He's got this kind of shit, right? He's just a guy doing his show in a little home office. It's not that big a deal. And it's the big problem is all these people that just do shit for money. That's the evil in the world. $1.9 million house. Oh, yeah. Jimmy Dore, the Pasadena-based comedian turned political commentator known for his YouTube famous Jimmy Dore Show and for his time with the Young Turks, has spent $1.9 million to upgrade into a distinctly cozy, charming compound in LA's San Fernando Valley. Located in a leafy pocket of Studio City, Dore's new purchase clocks in at 2,815 square feet with 5 bedrooms and 4 full baths. By the way, I think he and his wife / partner, whatever she is, they have no children. Yeah. They just have a lot of guests stay over, I guess. All of them divided among the 3-bedroom main house, a separate 1-bedroom guest house with its own private yard, and an additional studio with a private balcony. I guess that's not included with the bedrooms that are there. So the additional studio with a private balcony, I guess that's what they're calling the garage these days. Who doesn't have a garage with a balcony? What kind of Mitt Romney bullshit is this, Jimmy? Fucking hell. How did Jimmy get all that money? I'll tell you how Jimmy got all that money. Jimmy has, he's got his members only show. So unlike me, people can give to the show, become members, all that kind of stuff, but I don't put anything behind a firewall. Or a paywall. I don't do it. Because I started doing this show for people to enjoy, and if people want to support the show, awesome. But I didn't put it behind a paywall and make people pay to see it because I wasn't just about leeching my biggest followers, which is basically the TYT mechanism and subsequently the Jimmy Dore model. Also, hundreds of dollars in super chat every single day from God knows where. So, don't get me started. Yeah, was I freezing because I had too many pages open? Sorry, Terry. Jimmy has an OnlyFans. Yeah, it's on the balcony. He does his own version of Stuttering John's beer on the balcony. And, by the way, for the record, negatively trending on Twitter makes you money in this business. When CNN is calling, that helps you make money. If you are making hay out of your Wikipedia being attacked for weeks on end, that'll make you money in that crowd. His crowd that follows him will dump a bunch of shit in his lap because, oh my God, he's being attacked. So that's where. And here's the thing. At no point am I going to say that, even though I disagree with the squad on a lot of things, and even the squad disagrees with the squad on their previous actions because they're becoming aware of that politics is about what's possible and democracy is about working together to come to solutions, and diversity is the root of our strength, not the fruit of our strength, and we're fomenting tribalism is not the goal. You realize that after a while. All public servants eventually come around to that if they don't become egomaniacs and stuff. So I at no point, wherever I disagreed with Bernie Sanders about stuff, or with the squad about stuff, or with Pelosi's actions about stuff, or any of these folks, am I going to dehumanize them and basically call for violence against them, or call them murderers, knowing full well there are people in my crowd, which you guys, we know you're not. But if I were one of these two assholes and knew that there were people who watch my show regularly who would gladly take up arms against innocent women and children if it proved their political point and they're just waiting for the day, right? even knowing that I had difficulties with him, I would never dehumanize them and call them murderers or any of that kind of shit. Especially when it was simply about an argument about tactics, how you get stuff done, if you can even get stuff done. And Jimmy's entire methodology is, look, if 12 million people have to die, so I can say that 20 million will live in 10 years, whether it's true or not, and I get to stand on the pile of the 12 million and beat my chest that I helped bring this about, that's enough. That's what Jimmy Dore's entire premise is. That's what his entire show is. It's why, I mean, arguably, the Young Turks is a watered-down version of that very thing. They just have started tiptoeing away from it, from, their, pick the camel toe days back in the early beginning of their show to when they brought Jimmy on and realized they're overstepping some lines. And if it wasn't for the Section 230s of the world, they probably would have been sued by Gavin Long's victims a long time ago, including Jimmy Dore. If any of these assholes ever clamor about 230, you guys got to let me know. Thank you, William. This is... people only watch his show or know about his show because Cenk Uygur thought he was hilarious and brought him on the show. That was it. And then he gave him his own show, and then they basically put him in a dinghy, and then they pushed the dinghy as far away as they could, and then when that wasn't good enough, they cut the line. That's how it worked. It's just gross. But understand... And I didn't know what was going to be in this segment at all. I thought this was going to be him. I know who Jimmy is, so I know kind of the shit he's going to say. But when they're talking about identity politics, I was just curious as this. You guys know I don't pre-watch this shit. There's no universe where Tucker Carlson deserves my time twice. Right? Especially about the same shit. So I had no idea where he was going to go with this whole argument, but it was, here he is again, on Tucker Carlson's show. And where does it go? Tucker asks him a question about narcissism and is the root of identity politics. And Jimmy takes a conversation about identity politics and makes it all about him, that he's being attacked by the fucking squad. The squad. Not Nancy Pelosi. He had 3 sentences about Nancy Pelosi, and the rest of it is attacking the fucking squad. 4 women in the Democratic caucus. Jesus. How you actually have a dedicated daily following, you don't have to buy viewers. This is true, Donna. Thank you for pointing that out. So, we don't do this shit that often, but then he's not on Tucker that often, so there's kind of a rare overlap.